Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 87, Sidney Crosby, of course, of my little hockey show, where once a week I go through all of the major news and what's happenings in the NHL, mainly focusing in on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames, because those are my two favorite teams, but I'll be talking about all 32 teams on this podcast. And what is on tap today? Well, it just so happens there's a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs and Calgary Flames news, so we'll be spending some time with those two teams. A potential myth, the legend, maybe returning to a Canadian market. We'll just have to wait and see, but we'll be talking about that. Injury news, we got suspensions galore, and I think at the end of the show, we're going to hand out some mid-season awards. That should be a lot of fun, so let's just dive into it. Let's get into probably the biggest news this week, and that is Morgan Rielly getting a 5-game suspension for the situation that happened against the Ottawa Senators at the end of that game. So, what happened? End of the game, Toronto Maple Leafs have the goaltender pulled, and, what's his name? Ridley Gregg, he comes down, empty net, and he decides to take a big ol' slap shot into the empty net. Morgan Rielly says, "How dare you? How absolutely dare you?" Goes right at him and sticks him in the face. So, yeah, right when that happened, my immediate reaction was, oh no, oh no, oh no. I knew that was going to be a suspension. Now, I think 5 games may be a little bit hefty because it was not the worst hit in the face we've ever seen. I mean, I know it's a completely different situation, but Wayne Simmons getting cross-checked in the face by Edmondson in that Montreal series a few years ago was absolutely insane, and all Edmondson got was a fine. Again, I know that's the playoffs, and that's a totally different bag of worms or whatever, which, I mean, it shouldn't be, but it's a conversation for a different day. I didn't think Morgan Rielly caught him in the face all that badly. Yes, he did, and it's a stupid thing that he did, and yeah, it's kind of a stupid thing that, actually, honestly, Ridley Gregg, I think what he did was kind of genius. He did exactly what he was probably expecting to get out of this. Maybe not a stick in the face, but I mean, not only did he take out the Toronto Maple Leafs' best defenseman, some people argue the best player on the team this season, you riled up the fan base, and you kind of reignited that flame of the Battle of Ontario. The hatred between Ottawa and Toronto, it's back, baby. It is back. Like, fuck yeah. I've been missing it for years. I haven't felt the true hatred between Toronto and Ottawa all the way back to 2004, man, when I was 8 or 9 years old. I remember a teacher of mine was a huge Ottawa Senators fan. It was me and my buddy Sean. We'd wear our Leaf jerseys to school every day, and we would just go at it with this teacher day in, day out, chirping Daniel Alfredson, Spezza, Heatley, all those guys. It was so much freaking fun. Well, I don't think Heatley was there yet, but man, this could be great. Now, the only thing that really sucks about this, aside from Morgan getting a 5-game suspension, is that these two teams aren't going to be playing each other until next year. That was the last game, and Ottawa winning the the season series this year against the Toronto Maple Leafs, which hasn't happened in a very long time, which, I mean, again, without this whole rivalry, it doesn't really matter. Like, the Sens have been pretty bad, while the Toronto Maple Leafs have been good, and then vice versa. When the Leafs suck, the Sens were good. So we're not quite there yet. Ottawa clearly having a very, very disappointing season right now. But yeah, man, honestly, I think what Gregg did was a little bit genius. Did he mean for all of this to happen? I don't think so. I think mostly it's just pent-up rage. Like, if I was an Ottawa Senator or an Ottawa Senators fan, I'd be hella annoyed whenever Toronto comes into town, because it's Toronto takes over the building. Like, it's a Toronto Maple Leafs home game whenever they play in Ottawa, and that's got to get annoying, or at least we all know that one of the most satisfying things, especially according to Mark Scheifele, is beating the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's amazing, and everybody loves to do it. The media is always all over every Toronto game, so you're getting more media attention. And yeah, really, Greg is probably like, you know what? I'm fucking sick and tired of these Leaf fans taking over our building, and wham, I'm just going to smash this puck into your net. Fuck you. And you know what, man? I'm a huge Leaf fan. I love it. I love what he did there. That was awesome. Like, I think it's a little silly. Like, this even has it in the video games. I don't know if they're still doing that, but after the whistle or whatever, if you take a slap shot into the net, it's like an all-out brawl, and I fucking love doing that. More so in the older NHL games when you actually hurt people and shit. But anyway, I mean, it's kind of silly that, you know, you go and see red just because a guy shoots a puck into your net really aggressively. But, you know, in defense of Morgan Rielly, I mean, he obviously shows that he cares very much. He's a very passionate Toronto Maple Leaf. He loves this team. He bleeds blue and white. But, yeah, it's definitely going to hurt the team not having Morgan Rielly in the lineup for 5 games. Now, they won the game last night. It was against St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis is okay. It's just like not the biggest test. We'll see. There's still 4 more games to go. I know Morgan Rielly is in the process of appealing this suspension, but we know how that always goes. He's going to miss the whole 5 games. Even if they do appeal it and win and get it taken down to 4 games, by the time that gets all put through, the 5-game suspension will be complete. It'll just be a money situation, and Morgan is set to lose about $200,000 over the course of this suspension. So yeah, ouch a little bit. You know, maybe less so in the pockets of Morgan Rielly, but in the pockets of someone like me or you, holy shit, not good. So yeah, that's going to hurt, but obviously the defense is going to get hurt. Morgan Rielly this year has been unbelievable. People talking about this guy being the MVP of the team over Matthews, who is almost a goal-a-game player right now. Marner, Matthews, Tavares, all those guys. And, I mean, I can't say I can agree with that. I mean, defensively, by far, he is the best defenseman on the team. So, like, the next best guy is Jake McCabe, and, like, he's okay. He has good moments, but he ain't perfect. I mean, he's not the guy that I feel the most comfortable with in most defensive situations. And yeah, we know the Leafs defense this year isn't very strong. I mean, yes, we're getting some nice performances out of Benoit, but the guy's not amazing or anything. Giordano is literally the oldest player still playing in the NHL. Liljegren has mono now, apparently. I think, did he not have mono before? Isn't that why he originally dropped majorly in that draft the year the Leafs got him? He was supposed to be like a top 5 pick, and he dropped all the way down to wherever the Leafs got him, I think at 18, and I'm pretty sure it's because he had mono. Well, anyway, he's got it again. That sucks. Not good. And it's not like Liljegren's been outstanding or anything, but that's another body, and especially a right-handed shot defenseman, which the Leafs severely lacks. So yeah, losing Morgan Rielly obviously going to be awful. TJ Brody's just not been TJ Brody this year. Who the fuck else is playing for us right now? I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, last night it was okay. They played okay defensively, I guess. Kind of just more of the Bobby McMahon show, getting that hat trick out of nowhere from freaking a healthy scratch to a hat trick. That's pretty damn impressive. But back to the Morgan Rielly thing. I think, yes, it's a little overstepping with 5 games. I mean, the standard set was the David Perron suspension, which was him hitting a guy in the face, though it was the wrong guy he hit in the face. He did hit someone in the face, and he got a 6-game suspension for that. So they didn't feel it was up to that par, which I agree with, but I would have been more comfortable at like a 3-4 game suspension. Morgan was literally on pace for like a Lady Bing. He only had 8 penalty minutes up until this, which is fucking crazy. Like, oh my goodness. So yeah, that's it's going to be a hard thing for the Leafs to get through. I think they can do it. Like, Morgan Rielly's the kind of player for them that they're, you know, if he's not going to be there, I feel like that team is going to step up for him more than anybody on that team. So I'm expecting some nice performances out of the guys. I mean, Bobby McMahon there with the hat trick, was not expecting that. So far it's been okay, I guess, for the Leafs without Morgan Rielly, but yeah, we're going to want him back in there as soon as possible. And then there's that other guy on the team who's been injured for a very long time. and that guy is Joseph Woll. So a semi-update. So at first they said, like, yo, he's not even close. And then, like, 2 days later, he's practicing on the ice. So I don't know. At this point, whatever the Leafs are saying about Joseph Woll, I'm not buying any of it. Originally, they said, oh, he's going to be out for a couple weeks. It's been months. And trust me, I know he's on my fantasy team. He's been sitting there on my injured reserve forever, and they said he was only supposed to be out for a few weeks. And it's clearly the injury that they claimed he had, an ankle twist or whatever. That's baloney. That's not true. It was definitely a hip situation. But I mean, again, thankfully, Martin Jones was able to ride out the storm for the Leafs while Samsonov figured out how to play hockey again. He's mostly figured it back out. He's playing a lot better now. Still, I still don't love him in the net. I would prefer Joseph Woll in there, but Samsonov is playing decent enough now that I don't think he's necessarily detrimental to the team anymore, but yeah. I've just been immensely annoyed and frustrated with this Joseph Woll injury situation. It's great news to see him back on the ice. Again, I have no idea how much longer he is going to need to get back onto the ice, but I would love to see Joseph Woll back. I just like him in the net, man. He makes me feel good. I like the way that he plays in there. So, yeah. So, curious to hear what y'all think about the Morgan Rielly suspension. Is it way too much? Is it not enough? I mean, I don't know. I think they definitely got enough. I think 5 games is more than enough. But again, this kind of goes with people are talking about the whole the precedent of this. What about that? What about this situation? Well, we have to remember that there's like a new guy in there now. So I think, honestly, he's been doing a pretty good job so far at keeping things consistent. It's really, I think, too early to understand what his precedent is so far, but I think he's been fairly consistent with it. So even Steve Dangle, I just watched his breakdown of it, and he was shockingly calm and composed about the whole situation. The day it happened and then the ensuing day or two after while we were waiting for the announcement, I was flipping out, man. I was like going to my wife. I'm like, oh God, this could be the end of the Toronto Maple Leafs season. Like, they're not in the most comfortable spot. So in the wild card right now, the Leafs are the first wild card. They got 62 points. They have now been passed by Tampa Bay. Florida and Boston are all ahead of them. They're not really close to Florida or Boston. And Tampa Bay, they're 1 point behind. They have games in hand. Now, that doesn't mean shit unless you win those games. So, yes, Toronto has games in hand, but I'm not going to take it for much of anything. And then Detroit is right behind them at 60 points, biting at their heels a little bit, and they're playing well right now. And then just outside of the wild card is New Jersey, the Islanders, Washington, and Pittsburgh. Those 4 teams, I mean, a little bit out like Washington. We'll talk about Washington in a little bit, but I'd say those 4 teams are still in the fight. New Jersey, we'll be talking about them as well. But they're only 4 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. So right now, yeah, the Leafs have that cushion. They have to win, but they're not as comfortable as people think. In Tampa Bay, they're surging. And after a pretty rough start, to be past the Toronto Maple Leafs already, just goes to show how, kind of meh the Leafs season has been this year so far. They're a 2-line team with weak defense and shoddy goaltending. It's just yeah. So with that being said, let's talk about what the Leafs can do maybe in the upcoming trade deadline. So we're a few weeks away now from that, and the questions are starting to come out at what the Toronto Maple Leafs could potentially do. And from what I'm seeing, not a whole lot. I mean, they don't have any money, so a lot of the trades, if there's anything to be made, it would have to be money in, money out, or they're going to have to find cheap guys. So they do have their first-round pick this season, the 2024 draft. Now, the debate is, should the Leafs put that into play, or should they hang on to it? Because the Leafs don't have a very good prospect pool anymore. There's a few guys in there, like Fraser Minton, you got... Is it Jared Cowan? I don't know, Cowan, and obviously Matthew Nyes, who's already on the team. Now, they have come out and said that those 3 guys, Nyes, Cowan, and Minton, they're not trading those guys. They're not looking to move them. That's coming out of Elliot Friedman, so you could take that for what it is. So if they aren't going to move the first, they're not going to move any of those 3 players, then what's left? Not very much. I don't think they have any second-round picks, and yeah, it seems like they're pretty privy to want to keep that first-round pick. We'll probably take more in-depth look as the weeks go on as to what particular players are on the board, but there's one player from Washington that I do have my eyes on, and that is Nick Dowd. He's a center, and the thing that interests me the most about Nick Dowd is he's a center. That's great. The Leafs could use some center depth, third line, fourth line center situation. Who knows? Maybe he can play in that middle 6 area if need be, but I doubt it. The thing about Nick Dowd that we are liking is his low cap hit, and he signed through next season as well. So it's like $1 million and something, and he's been a good player for Washington this year. So that's a player that I am looking at right now. It's cheap. It's someone that you can bring in cheap for next year as well, which is going to be the key for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the way that they're structured with these very front-loaded, heavy, high cap hits for 5 guys or whatever. You got to find those budget value contracts. In Washington, a team kind of on, with Ovechkin and all right now, we'll talk about him, but is Washington in the market to sell? At this point, you would think so, but, if Ovechkin decides, hey, I'm just going to score 30 goals down the stretch, they might be in contention for a playoff spot. So Nick Dowd is the guy that I'm interested in. Obviously, whatever defenseman, like whatever one they can bring in. The idea of trading out Bertuzzi, I could be into that. I think I would like to keep Domi. Like there's that idea of the Leafs potentially trading one of or both Domi and Bertuzzi. They're on 1-year deals. And Bertuzzi's just snake-bitten as fuck. The dude cannot buy a goal. He's not playing badly. He's just absolutely snake-bitten right now. And I don't know if the fit is there, similar to like Nick Ritchie. Like it didn't work, and then they traded him away. So could Toronto find someone to take him, take all the money? Is there a money in, money out deal that the Leafs can find another player of similar cap hit? Because that's going to be how I feel a lot of the deals are going to have to go down. So many teams are right up against the cap, so they're just going to have to do something like that. So I don't know if, trading Bertuzzi, I wouldn't be against it. Again, I think Domi should stay. I think he's played well enough that he should stay, and he might even be able to be convinced to stick around for semi-cheapish, like $3 million. I'm not mad at that, but $5.5 or so million for Bertuzzi this season, he just hasn't lived up to that. So if there's a team out there that they could trade him to and get something, I mean, defense is number one. They need so much help on defense. It's not even funny. So what's out there defensively? Like Noah Hannafin's going to be, that's just too much. There's not a lot of guys out there that are coming off the top of my head, right? So we'll see for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but curious to hear, what do you guys think? What kind of names out there? Like I threw out Nick Dowd. That's the guy that I'm eyeing up, at least for forwards. I'm going to have to do some more diving to see what kind of defenseman might be on the market. But yeah, Toronto desperately needs defense. And we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Should the Leafs move off of that first rounder? I mean, I wouldn't even be against it. Like, if they could trade the first rounder and then bring back in like a second or a third round, that would be fine with me. Because the first round's going to be a later first round pick anyway. It's not supposed to be the deepest draft. So I'm not against them moving it, but it would have to be like a good deal to do it. I don't want them just moving it for a pure rental. I don't think that would be a good idea. You got to get someone like a Nick Dowd that has some term for next year as well. So that's what I'm looking at for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just got to see here. Is there anything else that I have written down for the Leafs? Nope, that's all for the Leafs. So let's move on. Let's go to Calgary now. And, oh, buddy, the Flames are heating up a little bit right here. So they went on a little 4-game winning streak right there, beating some pretty impressive teams, taking down Boston, New Jersey, Islanders, Chicago. Okay, we won't worry about Chicago. And then they got shut out last night by the Rangers. Not too worried about that one. The Rangers are on fire right now as well. But there's a bit of smoke around the Calgary Flames right now, and especially around Jacob Markstrom. So apparently, there was a deal in place with the New Jersey Devils that I guess the Devils backed out of at the last moment. So there was a deal in place. I wish I knew what the details of that trade was. At some point, I imagine I'm going to hear the details of what that trade was supposed to be, but it's not done yet. I think New Jersey is still circling around Calgary and Jacob Markstrom to see if they can make that happen. And me personally want this to happen so badly. Now, nothing against Jacob Markstrom. He has played so good this year, and thank you so much for that. You have rebounded your not-so-good season from last year, which made you damn near untradeable, and now you are 100% tradable right now, and the Flames got to strike right now, because who knows if he's ever going to play this good again. The Flames at this point, they don't need Jacob Markstrom to be playing this good for them. He's keeping them kind of above water, I think. And I need the Flames to not necessarily do a full tear-it-down rebuild. They can maybe get away with something like Vancouver's been doing for their entire existence. Never doing a rebuild, but just doing a couple of retools. And I think Calgary could maybe get away with that. So you get rid of Markstrom. Sounds like you're going to get a fairly decent package, and I would imagine it sounds like with that Jersey trade, Vanacek would have been coming back, which is fine. I don't give a shit. Bring him here, we'll deal with him, and just bury him and send him on his way some other time. It doesn't matter. I'm more curious about what are the other pieces that would have been coming back. Is it picks? Is it prospects? Is it a forward? Is it a defenseman? What is it? So really want that trade to go down. New Jersey is probably the number one team in the market for a goaltender right now. I mean, Colorado is sniffing, but do they need a Jacob Markstrom when they have a Georgiev? I don't know. New Jersey 1000% needs a goaltender. LA could use a goaltender as well, but with New Jersey, I like what they have. They've already dealt with each other before with the Sharangovich-Toffoli trade, so there's history here. I like that Sharangovich deal. I feel like New Jersey fans were pretty fine with the Toffoli ad. So let's make it happen, New Jersey. Let's make it happen. Circle back around. Let's get you some Jacob Markstrom in there. Maybe it can save your guys a season. Now, that's the other question. That's probably why New Jersey is like, should we or shouldn't we? Like, is it too late for us this year? Like, is it just not going to happen? And, double back next year and maybe get the goaltender in the offseason and come back at it strong next season. But I feel like that's what they're playing with right now, like weighing those options, like, is it worth giving up all these assets for the goalie? And that's not a guarantee that Markstrom's going to play amazing for them. Like, it's not just because he's playing great for Calgary right now. You rip him out of that, take him out of his environment, pull him out of his home and everywhere where he's been comfy, and you put him in a whole new situation, throw on the pressure of, hey, you got to save our season, bro. And yeah, who knows? Like, those are probably the things that New Jersey management is thinking about right now. But me, as a Flames fan, yes, please, for the love of God, take Markstrom right now, because his value is as high as it's ever going to get right now. And yes, it would save the Flames a lot of money. We could bring up Dustin Wolf and let him do his thing. I know his numbers aren't out of control or anything, but that guy is the future in net for the Calgary Flames. And Vladar has been fine. I think Wolf and Vladar is a absolutely doable tandem. If you got to have Vanacek, Vladar, Wolf, like a trio, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. At this point, I want the Flames to kind of bottom out and get a good of a pick as they can, because I'm looking at this Western Conference and yeah, they're there. Let's just get into the wild card. Like, they're out there. They have an outside chance. They're 2 spots out of the second wild card. It's Los Angeles and St. Louis holding on to it right now. They're both at 58 points. We know what's going on with Los Angeles right now. They got fucking dummied last night. 7-0 from Buffalo? Like, just stop it. Unbelievable. And then St. Louis, they're kind of just could they, will they? I don't know. And then Nashville is also ahead of them. So LA and St. Louis have games in hand on Calgary. Again, you've got to win those games, so it's not fucking guaranteed that Los Angeles will win all those games. But Calgary, 55 points, 3 points out of a wild card spot with the team that they have. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. They got San Jose up next. It should be a win, but if they've lost to them before, yeah, man. And Edmonton, Vegas, Vancouver, that seems solidified. I don't think they're going anywhere. Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg seems pretty strong with those 3 teams right there as well. So yeah, I think Calgary has a chance, but I don't want them to. I want them to get a good pick and just trade off the assets while they have good value right now. And the other asset that they have is Noah Hannafin, who apparently is weighing out his options. Like, we still don't know what this guy wants to do. Like, again, he's another player that's like, I wouldn't be very angry if they decided to keep him. It would have to be like, I don't want them giving him like $8-9 fucking million. If you can get Noah Hannafin locked up for like $7 million, 8-year deal or something like that, I could be fine with that, I guess. You're gonna have to keep some of the defensemen around. Like, if they want to trade Tanev as well, I mean, maybe you want to keep one of them. I don't know, but Shillington is back in there. And actually read a little article with Shillington. He was kind of opening up about his last 2 years away from the NHL. Now, he didn't give the full story of what was going on there, but just a little crack into the window of what was going on with him. And it was a nice little story to read from Shillington. He's doing much, much better now, which is great. So good to see that. And if they get rid of Hannafin and or Tanev, then that could be more time for Shillington to get back in there and stuff like that. So, yeah, I want them to deal Markstrom, especially now with his value as high as it can be right now. He is actually tradable. People are interested in him, and that's amazing. So the Flames need to do this. Gotta get as many assets as you can, and fuck yeah. Speaking of fuck yeah, Jonathan Huberdeau, believe it or not, has been in and around point-a-game player in 2024. So he has been playing a little bit better. He's still not living up to that $10.5 million contract, but he's getting better. I mean, maybe it's just going to take an extremely long time. Now, when this trade originally happened, I was like, oh, okay, it's going to take Huberdeau a while to get involved. I was saying, like, maybe it's going to be like 6 months. Now it's been like almost 2 years now, so maybe now he's starting to get a little bit comfortable. Maybe it's just taking him a really, 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 really long time. But he's playing better, so that's good. What isn't good, though, is Jacob Pelletier getting re-injured, basically, right? He just got back, and now he's injured again, so yeah, that kind of sucks. They also extended, what was it, Connor Zary? Let's just pull that up. Trades and signings. It was pretty sure it's Connor Zary. No, Martin Pospisil got a 2-year extension, $1 million per season. I'm fucking absolutely dandy and happy with that signing right there. Sounds good, looks good. But yes, Calgary Flames fans out there, what the heck should they do? Are they selling up, like, you got to sell Markstrom, right? There's no reason to keep him. There's just not. You got Vladar, you got Wolf. I mean, trade Markstrom. Find someone. If it's not New Jersey, give him to someone else. It doesn't matter. Someone's taking him. Make it happen. And speaking of making it happen, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Ovechkin is making it happen. 6-game goal scoring streak. Let's fucking go, baby. He's back. He has risen from the dead. Ovechkin's back. 6 games in a row, and that was almost essentially always on the table. There was a couple of moments there I was like, oh shit, this might be it for him, but it was always kind of there. It's like, it's Ovechkin. Like, at some point, he can just score 10 goals in 10 games, right? And just get back on track. And he's pretty much back on track to hit about 30 goals now. So people are pretty damn convinced at this point now that he can do it. He can catch Gretzky. He's like 50-something goals away now. And if he can, who knows how long this streak is going to go. I don't expect it to go for too much longer, but fuck, am I ever happy to see that, man? Like, saw a couple games. I'm like, oh, cool. He's got games back to back. Oh, shit. 3 games, 4, 5, 6 games. I'm like, oh, yeah, man, that is awesome. And that's exactly what Ovechkin needed. I mean, he tends to be a really strong back half player, which is maybe something we should expect out of Ov at this point of the year. He's not going to go full engines blasting all season long. He's an old man now in NHL standards, so maybe he was just biding his time and waiting, and now he's unleashing himself, and maybe the All-Star break was something that he needed. Who knows? Everybody could use a break. You know, some teams are doing good after the break, some teams not so much, but Ovi right now on fire, and that is fantastic. What do you guys think? Is he going to crack into the 30 goals this season? And ultimately, is he going to end up passing Wayne Gretzky? He's probably still 2 years away maybe from doing it, but with a 6-game goal scoring streak right now, it feels like it's going to happen. So that is awesome for Ovechkin. Now, speaking of awesome, I teased this in the intro, but the man, the myth, the legend, Phil Kessel may be returning to the NHL soon, and he is currently practicing with the Abbotsford Canucks, and he just might be signing with the Vancouver Canucks. And who knows, maybe Phil Kessel becomes a 4-time Stanley Cup champion. I cannot fucking believe that Phil has not played hockey yet this year. I can't believe Pittsburgh hasn't come knocking. I can't believe Toronto hasn't come knocking. What the fucking fuck? So Phil Kessel, hopefully he'll be playing in an NHL game. Whenever he makes his debut, I will be making it my mission to make sure I witness his first debut on the ice for this season, and it would be so sick to see him back in a Canadian market, in a Canadian outfit. I think he would look so fucking good in a Vancouver Canucks jersey. I want one so bad. I want a Phil Kessel jersey so bad. I've wanted one forever, and I have a blank Toronto Maple Leaf jersey, an old one with the shitty logo on it when he played there. I've wanted to get it done up with a Phil Kessel on there. It's very expensive to get it done, and I just can't find one. I found a few out in the wild way back in the day, like when he was still here, and God, I wish I pulled the trigger on some of those jerseys back then, but nope, still don't have a Phil Kessel jersey, but at some point I will, and if it has to be a Vancouver Canucks one, I'm cool with that, man. I would love a Vancouver Canucks Orca jersey. I love the Orca. I know people don't like it. I think it's so cool looking though, but Phil Kessel, baby. Hopefully he's coming back to the NHL. That would be absolutely amazing. Speaking of amazing, Brad Marchand hit 1,000 games. Whoop-de-fucking-do. No, but seriously, Brad Marchand, 1,000 games. Very impressive. Very well done. I have a hated respect for him. Like, he's that exact player. Like, you hate him, but if he was on your team, he would be the most beloved guy on your team. So I can only imagine how much love and admiration Boston Bruins fans have for Brad Marchand on most days. I know there's the not-so-good days with Brad Marchand, but he's still killing it, having a great year with the Bruins, who are also having another great season. Is there another Stanley Cup in Brad Marchand's career? I don't know. Like, without Bergeron and Chara and all that stuff, it's, Marchand was very, very good, but like those pieces I think were more important to the Bruins as a whole, but Marchand still getting it done out there as the captain, and yeah, you gotta give him a little shout out right there, even if it's Brad Marchand. So there you go, I shouted him out. Also, other news with Boston, that Poitras, young man, will be out 5 months after shoulder surgery. So very disappointing. He started really good out of the gates for the Bruins this year, a young center, it almost looked like he was going to grab that first line center spot for a little bit, and then he dropped off, went to the World Juniors, and I think did really good there, and yeah, now he will be done for the rest of the season, which sucks. That really sucks, young player who was playing well, and looks like the future is going to be very, very bright for this young man. So, get healthy and rebound strong for the Bruins next year. I imagine you will be. It's the Bruins. Everything goes right for the Bruins because it's the fucking Bruins. Okay, so things that haven't been going so well for quite a few teams here. So we got San Jose. Tomas Hertl will be out a few weeks after having knee surgery, so that's probably their best player, and he will be out for a few weeks. That's not going to be ideal. Also back to Vancouver, Zadorov has been suspended 2 games for a hit on the head versus Detroit on Mason Raymond. So new guy there, only a couple games. I didn't get to see that hit, but there was quite a few of them. Here comes one from Winnipeg. Brendan Dillon suspended 3 games for a head hit on Noel Acciari versus Pittsburgh. So yeah, this has been a problem. It's still happening. That debate, with the Noel Acciari one and Brendan Dillon, there's a bit of a debate around this one because Noel Acciari apparently had his head down from blue line to blue line, so he wasn't doing a good job at protecting himself. I think there's an argument of players being taller than the other ones, and if they're naturally their shoulder's just going to go into someone's head, they would have to crouch down awkwardly. I don't think that was the case, but I know that's been the case in other situations. Regardless, that is something that is starting to creep back into the NHL game a little bit, and that's players just not having their fucking heads up, not being ready. You should be ready at all times for fucking anything. So, example, I think it was Jack Hughes. No, Dylan Larkin, I think, when he got fucking whammied this year. And he was just like, in his quote, he was like, I did not expect that. I was not expecting a hit like that. And that surprised me. I'm like, bro, you're in, like, this is the NHL. There's big fucking guys out there. Jacob Trouba's in this league. Tom Wilson's in this league. Like, you gotta have your head on a swivel. And now after that, he's like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna play the same after getting hit like that. And it's like, okay, so we gonna be watching that for some of the newer players coming up, some of these young skill guys with, hitting not being so prominent in the game anymore. When it happens and like a Jacob Trouba sees you with your fucking head down, he's gonna end you. He's going to absolutely end you. That's his bread and butter, baby. So I'm gonna be on the lookout for that kind of thing, seeing if. I noticed people playing with their heads down a lot. It's something that may end up creeping back into the game. So we'll keep our eyes out on that one. Okay, so sadly my eyes were on the Tampa Bay and Mikhail Sergachev situation. So very, very rough injury this week over there for Sergachev. Goes hard into the boards, and yeah, he broke some stuff in his lower area. I think his fibula, tibia, something like that. Not good. He was stretchered out. Fucking terrible. He's going to be missing a lot of time. Potentially won't be seeing him until next season, which is a massive loss for Tampa Bay. He's one of their best defensemen. If not, it's like him and Hedman are the 1-2, 1A, 1B. And yeah, that's going to be a huge blow to them. And, it was pretty, I think it was a tweet or something, and he was just being like really candid and just like a human about it. He's like, this fucking sucks. Like, I worked so hard, and for it all to be taken away just like that, like injuries happen, this sucks. And he's like, the pain medications are really good. So yeah, fuck yeah, enjoy the pain medications while you can. Yeah, man, that's terrible. You don't want to see something like that going down with any player, and obviously if you're a Tampa Bay fan, you don't want to see it happening to one of your best players, and that sucks. So is Tampa Bay going to try and add something at the deadline now? Because obviously if Sergachev's going on long term, that's going to be, $8 million some odd dollars freed up for them, so they could potentially make a move for a playoff run if there's a defenseman out there. So that could be something, but yeah, that just absolutely sucks for Sergachev, and they were starting to, they were turning it on. They're back in the playoff hunt. They're right back being Tampa Bay again, and now he's going to miss out on that, so that absolutely sucks for sure. But you know what doesn't suck? It's the Edmonton Oilers. So I teased the potential that, when a team goes on a big old winning streak and when they finally lose that first game, there's more often than not, I feel like teams tend to go on a bit of a skid after that, and Edmonton has not done that. They've lost a couple of games, but they've done a win one, lose one. So me as a coach, that would be something I would try and pride my team on, is like, whenever we lose, we will always bounce back. We don't ever want to lose more than one in a row. I feel like it was probably Boston or something like that, maybe Tampa, but a team that just never loses two in a row. Like, that's just so fucking badass, I think. So Edmonton doing that, they were not going to be a victim of the big winning streak and then a pretty long losing streak, so they didn't do that. And on top of that, McDavid the other night, 6 assist performance. Oh my god, like, is it really all that shocking? It's Connor McDavid, but damn, dude, he hasn't even done that yet in his career, from what I can tell. I think that's the first 6 assist game, and that's immensely impressive. I mean, goodness gracious, Edmonton continues to be probably the hottest team in the league. They're just absolutely destroying it, and they look like they're going to be a serious problem in the playoffs. Some people kind of bringing up the idea, has Edmonton peaked too early? Are they wearing themselves out? I don't really know, man. At this point, it's a little bit too early. We'll have to kind of see how they're playing once the playoffs start getting a little bit closer. But I don't know. Most people say, like, having a little bit of a a challenge or a mountain to climb throughout the season is always really good at team building. And, Edmonton having to climb out of the depths of hell in the standings. And here they are, stronger than ever, looking really fucking good. I mean, that is something that you can really rally a team behind. Like, fuck, we were dead. We were on life support, fucking just about to pull the plug. And bam, 16-game winning streak. And we're back in it, baby. So, yeah, that's the kind of momentum that could potentially carry this team to a Stanley Cup, but we're not there yet. And we're not there yet with the Arizona Coyotes. Oh my goodness. I'll be brief with this because it's just a conversation that we have had as hockey fans for like a decade now with the Arizona Coyotes and what the future is going to hold with them, yada, yada, yada. And it doesn't look good. Again, we're at a point now where it's been, 2 years that they made the claim that, we're going to find this land, we're remaining here in Arizona, everything's going to be okay. And, Gary Bettman talked about it, and his confidence seems to be shook. And we still don't have an answer or anything out of the Arizona management group or whoever the fuck is in charge over there. They still don't have land. They're still looking at land. They have nothing's in place yet. Nothing's moving. Nothing's going. And there's only, 2 more years on their lease at the place they're playing at, and it's just getting to like a really embarrassing level for the NHL and that organization, playing in this really tiny building and just this laundry list of terrible management that is just been the identity of the Arizona Coyotes. Like, when you think of the Arizona Coyotes, are you necessarily thinking about hockey? No, you might be thinking about like terrible management decisions and shit like that. And the crazy thing is, there's a great market in Arizona and Scottsdale, Glendale, all that. There's a huge market there that they just can't fucking get into. They keep fucking around, and like, I don't blame the people in Arizona for being like, how can we get into this team when you guys are moving all around? You got no consistency. There's nothing to get behind with this team. And like, still to this date, we still have no fucking plan, no idea what the future is for the Arizona Coyotes. At this point, people seem absolutely convinced they're gone. They're going to get moved. They're gone, but not dead. Now, the idea is that more than likely, at this point, it looks like Arizona's just going to get bought up and moved. Probably going to Salt Lake City, Utah. There's an arena there ready to go. Fucking everybody wants them over there. The owner, whoever, he's like, please, I'll do anything. Just bring them over there. Get that headache. Fucking just let Arizona rest for a little bit, I guess, and come back another day and try again, I guess. I mean, that's where it kind of seems like it's going at this point, because the fact that they still have nothing in motion is shocking. It's pathetic. It's not good. And I think that's it, man. Like, how many more fucking chances can they give this organization, this management group? Just take it away, give it to someone else that wants it and ready for it, and a fan base that's ready to embrace it. And I imagine, a fucking hockey team, guys like Schmaltz and Keller that are sick of this environment and just want some consistency in their life and not having to worry about what tomorrow will bring or what fucking article is going to get written about them tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with Arizona. It's still not good and doesn't look like it's getting a whole lot better, and they're just spinning wheels and not going anywhere. So that's what's going on over there. And we'll finish it off with Columbus news. According to Boone Jenner, he would like to stay with the Columbus Blue Jackets. The captain of the team, I feel like he kind of has to say that. I don't think he's going to come out and say, like, I want the fuck out of here. This place is embarrassing. I hate it here. I hate me. I hate you. And get me out of here. I want to win for a change. But Boone Jenner says he wants to be a part of the change in Columbus. And when they turn it around, become good, that's really cute. But at some point, it might happen where Columbus is a good hockey team and maybe even a playoff contender at some point. I don't know if that's going to happen under Boone Jenner's watch, but we'll see. I mean, it's always good to have guys want to play for you, and especially your captain. I wouldn't want John Tavares tomorrow to come out and say, I want out of here, even though I feel like a lot of the fan base would love that because you guys are freaks. But John Tavares, man, love that guy. So, yeah, I think that's all of the major news topics I wanted to talk about today. So let's go into it and let's give out a few awards for the mid-season. We'll talk about most of the awards, and yeah, we'll just hand them out and see who's doing so good so far. Okay, so I pulled out my hockey predictions from the beginning of the year, and we'll just quickly blast through what I thought all the positions of the teams are going to be at the end of the year. Atlantic Division, I have Toronto first, Florida second, Tampa Bay third, Buffalo fourth, yikes, Boston fifth, yikes, Ottawa sixth, yikes, Detroit 7th, yikes, and Montreal 8th. Hey, I did all right on that one. Metro, you got Carolina 1st, okay. New York Rangers 2nd, okay. New Jersey 3rd, Pittsburgh 4th, New York Islanders 5th, okay. Washington 6th, okay. Columbus 7th, and Philadelphia 8th. I had no belief or faith in the Philadelphia Flyers. My apologies. Pacific Division, Vegas 3rd, all right. Edmonton 1st, getting there. Calgary 5th, eh? Vancouver 6th. I did not believe in the Canucks. Los Angeles 2nd. I had a lot of belief in LA. They were my sleeper cup pick. Seattle 4th. Anaheim 7th. And San Jose 8th. Not bad. Central, Colorado 2nd. Winnipeg 3rd. So I had belief in the Winnipeg Jets coming in. Dallas 1st. Minnesota 4th. I had some belief in Minnesota. Nashville 6th. St. Louis 5th. Arizona 7th, and Chicago 8th. So I did have belief in St. Louis, and I still do. I think they're not a bad team, and they're in the wild card right now, so I'm not too bad. There's definitely some rough ones there in the Pacific, though. Anyway, now we go to the awards. So the Hart, I predicted it would be between McDavid, Matthews, and Pasternak. McDavid's definitely in there. You would definitely need to be throwing in Kucherov for sure. And I don't know, man, there's a lot of guys that could be in there. Honestly, I don't know, can you take Matthews out when he's damn near a goal a game right now for the Leafs? If you took Matthews out of that lineup, I don't know if the Leafs are in a playoff spot right now. So I could be convinced with McDavid, Matthews, like Kucherov. Okay, maybe we're taking out Matthews and we put in McKinnon, Kucherov right there, and if I had to pick one of them, I'm honestly going to go, I would have to pick McDavid, just because at the beginning of the season, McDavid wasn't fully healthy, and the Edmonton Oilers were not playing good, and then it looked like he got healthy, and then bam, 16-game winning streak. So I think it's McDavid. That's me. Art Ross, I had it as McDavid, Draisaitl, and McKinnon. I thought I had Kucherov in there, so obviously it's Kucherov's to win. He's got the most points right now, and McKinnon is right there behind him. So I got one name on there anyway. Ted Lindsay, I think that goes to the player, awarded from the players, so I guess we don't really have to decide that, but I had McDavid, Matthews, and Makar down for that one. The Maurice is Matthews. He's currently leading the league in goals, and I feel pretty strong about that. He's probably going to end up winning the Maurice unless he gets injured. The other two guys I had there with him is McDavid and David Pasternak. Definitely didn't have Sam Reinhart on the bingo card, that's for sure. He's still up there. I don't think he's going to beat Matthews, but fucking really awesome for Sam Reinhart. The guy's been unbelievable. And now we get to the Norris. I had Makar, Fox, and Dahlin down there. Didn't expect Quinn Hughes to do what he has done. Now, overall, I'll probably give it to Quinn Hughes right now, only because Makar has missed some games. Honestly, I still think Makar is the better defenseman overall. If you compare the numbers, they're very comparable in terms of points this season. But what really puts Makar on a higher level for me personally is just the amount of block shots, how many more Makar has over Quinn Hughes. So Makar is just a little bit more of a gritty defenseman over Quinn Hughes. He's not afraid to block shots. He's not afraid to get into the corners and shit like that. But yeah, right now I would give a slight edge to Quinn Hughes, but I think overall it's probably going to end up going to Makar again. He's just so fucking good, man. He is so freaking good, but I wouldn't be angry at Quinn Hughes getting it. He has had an outstanding season for the Canucks, completely turned that team around, not by himself, but he is definitely a key contributor to the Vancouver Canucks' success this year. So yeah, I'll stick with Quinn, but I think Makar ends up with it. Calder, you got Bedard, Cooley, and Fantilli were the three guys that I picked. Now, as of right now, I think it's between Bedard and, what's that guy's name from Minnesota, that defenseman? Brock Faber, man. Minnesota, this kid is really freaking good. Really, really good young defenseman. Like, I could see, like, let's just, if by chance Bedard misses, like, some more time, if he comes back, plays some more games, and then gets injured again and misses another pretty big chunk of time, I could see Brock Faber stealing it from him. But I think without a doubt, like, even the year like McDavid when he got hurt, and I think it was, who got it that year? I think Panarin stole it from him. I still think, like, they should have gave it to McDavid because by far he was the most talented rookie in the league that year. And I would have to say the same for Bedard this year. Like, he is by far the most talented rookie in the league, but Brock Faber is by far the most talented rookie defenseman in the league. The guy is fucking legit. Like, he might be a bona fide top 2 defenseman right now. He is very, very good, and the Minnesota fans are making it very well known that he is good and he deserves Calder nominations and probably a Calder win. Boy, it's tough though. Like, I can't say that I've watched a lot of Brock Faber. I've seen his numbers. I see how many minutes he is playing, and it's very, very impressive. But Connor Bedard, man, like, we all know, just watching this kid, he's the next one, man. Like, that shot is insane. And if he just had some players to play with on Chicago, who knows how many more points he would have right now. But I'll go with Connor Bedard. I mean, Cooley's been okay, and Fantilli's been okay, but I don't really think they've done enough to, you know, really be in that conversation with Brock and Connor. So I'll stick with them. Vezina, I selected Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, and Sorokin. And, you know, Shesterkin's been playing better lately, and Sorokin's been good this year too, but not up to Sorokin normal numbers. It's been like the Aiden Hill show. Thatcher Demko's been excellent. And Hellebuck, I mean, I think it would be right now between Hellebuck and Thatcher Demko. Aiden Hill, like, yeah, if he had some more games played, but I think I'd probably go in with Connor Hellebuck right now, but I could be convinced with Thatcher Demko. He's been outstanding. Selke, Stone, Hischier, and Kopitar. I really don't know who is necessarily in contention for that right now. I'll just pick Stone because I don't really fucking know. Jack Adams, I had Monty from Dallas, Cassidy from Vegas, and Rod the Bod from Carolina. Those are 3 fine picks right there, honestly. I mean, what Monty is doing in Dallas, not as impressive as last year. They're not doing as good. What Cassidy has done in Vegas is phenomenal. Really, really impressive what he's been able to do. No cup slouch for them. They came out of the gates firing, and as always, dealing with a shitload of injuries and still getting it done. Rod Brindamore, I mean, being able to have Carolina in the position that they're in with the goaltending that they've had this season is fucking outstanding. I forget who is it. I forget who the coach is for Boston, but I gotta shout that guy out. Still having the team do so good without Bergeron or Krejci is amazing. So I don't know. I might just have to give it to the Boston coach, even though I don't remember his name right now. And then, laughably, my cup prediction was the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Conn Smythe was Matthews. We'll still have to wait and see about that one. The door's not closed on the Leafs, but I am in no real belief that the Leafs are in any serious contention for the cup this year. But it's been a weird season for the NHL. There's a lot of teams that are like I don't know, like there's not like an extreme elite level. There's a lot of teams that are kind of in that really, really good, but they haven't been like destructively dominant like the Bruins were last year or Florida a couple of years ago. There's just a lot of teams that people are like, I can be convinced that they can win a cup, but there's also these things that are wrong with them. Like name any team, like Tampa Bay, like they've had inconsistencies this year. So has Colorado, so has Vegas, and so on and so forth. Actually, there's one more thing I would like to talk about, and that is the Winnipeg Jets. I want to go back and revisit the Monahan trade and the fact that, you know, Winnipeg's been slumping right here. They went on a pretty nasty 5-game losing streak there, and essentially the goal scoring has just got shut off for this team. They scored 1 goal, 0 goals, 2 goals, 0 goals, 1 goal, and they scored 2 goals the other night. So they have not managed to score over 2 goals for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games. They have not hit over 2 goals in a game, and that's not good. So they're going to need that offense to get back going for the Winnipeg Jets. Now, they won their game last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins 2-1. They got San Jose up next today, so not going to say it's a guaranteed win, but a really good shot at Winnipeg starting to get things rolling again. I know people are kind of already on Monahan, like, oh, they brought this guy in and they start fucking losing. They're terrible. Monahan's terrible. They should blow up his house and shit. Just fucking relax, okay? Let the guy, I have to do this every time, but when a guy goes from the Eastern Conference to the Western Conference, there is an adjustment period. It's not a completely different game, but it's a noticeably different game when you're playing on the West to the East. It's a heavier game over there in the West. You got different, harder time zones to play in. You got harder travel, and you're in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's not the easiest place to live in, especially in February. So cut Monahan a little bit of slack. He's not fucking changing the world for Winnipeg. That's not what he was brought in to do. He was there to help with depth, but yeah, Winnipeg's got to get their goal scoring going right now. So yeah, I think that's all. I had to mention that because I remember Winnipeg was going through quite a bit of a skid, and there's a lot of heat on Monahan for it, but I don't think that's not fair. So leave Monahan alone. He's a great guy, and I guess y'all are great as well for listening to this podcast this week. Thank you so much for listening. You're awesome. You want to be even more awesome? Just hit that little review button, hit the stars, hit the like, hit the follow. Do the little thing that you got to do to help me, the little guy, out in a big way. That helps apparently a lot. I don't know. I have no idea, but that's what they say. So if you could do that for me, please, and thank you. And if you would like to send in a question for the podcast, have it read out live and answered on the podcast, send in a question. There's an email address, there's Twitter, and I upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. You can watch them all live over there, and a great place to drop a comment. I'll see it, answer it, and all that great stuff. Be a ton of fun. And yeah, so there you go, everybody. We'll be back again with some more GX Plus Cast. What is on tap for this week? Well, I think I have selected the game I want to talk about for the GamerCast. A little bit random, but if you know me, you know how I feel about this game, and that game is Heavy Rain. So I'll be talking about Heavy Rain this week on the GamerCast, a little bit of a retrospective, and that should be a lot of fun. That is a very weird game with a little bit of a legacy on it, so that'll be on tap for the GamerCast this week, and the WrestleCast will be the WrestleCast, your weekly recap of AEW and WWE action, and that should be there on the weekend for you. And yes, so there you go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. You're awesome. Hope you're having a good day, and we'll be back again with some more GX Plus Cast.